Welcome to Canada, the podcast that helps you prepare for your Canadian adventure with clarity and confidence. Hello, future newcomers, and welcome to your Canadian Prep Zone. You're listening to episode number 10, and it is recorded in August 2025. I'm Emma Charland, your host and your international mobility coach. I'm here to help you prepare, plan, and thrive in your move to Canada. Today, I'll speak to you about finding accommodation in Canada. I will not be talking about finding temporary housing, but rather long-term rental housing. Housing is a major concern for immigrants. In many Canadian cities, the occupancy rate of the housing stock is so high and the renewal rate is so low that finding a place to rent can be a daunting task. Thankfully, with the right resources, it is possible to succeed. Before you start looking for a place to live in Canada, I suggest a little introspection. What cities and neighborhoods do you want to live in? What type of housing are you considering? And most importantly, what is the maximum amount of money you're willing to pay? Do the math and set a max amount, because if you spend all your money on rent, you won't have much left over for fun. Once you have your roadmap in place, all you have to do is find a place to rent. But how do you do that? By knocking on different doors. I recommend going to realtor.ca and centris.ca. Realtor is the go-to site for your real estate search in Canada outside of Quebec. Centris is its Quebec counterpart. In addition to these platforms, you can also visit Vrbo, PadMapper, or Zumper for the Anglophone Canada, or Duproprio and Louer.ca for the Francophone Canada. You can use real estate agencies such as Remax, Royal LePage, Century 21, Sutton Group, or EXP Realty. If the big players have not come up with anything, knock on the doors of private individuals. Kijiji, Craigslist, and Facebook marketplace sites sometimes have interesting listings. You can also contact your local immigration office as they are helping newcomers to settle in. Check out canada.ca or Compass to Connect. Finally, take a walk around the neighborhoods and look for rent signs. You can find them in front of windows, grocery stores, laundromats, and community centers. In Toronto, for example, you can knock on the caretaker's door and ask if there are any apartments available. This solution is time-consuming, I know, but it allows you to view properties that are sometimes not yet on the market. By now, you know where to do your research. Let's talk about when to start your research. Begin your research 3 to 4 months before you leave and study the market. Build a database noting prices, square footage, number of rooms, and services that are included. When you find that rare gem, make sure there are no hidden surprises. Have a relative or real estate agent show you the property or even make a trip down there. Most leases in Canada are for 1 year, whether you live in the accommodation or not. With a monthly rent of 2,500 Canadian dollars, that adds up to $30,000 a year. It is worth making sure everything is in order, don't you think? It is possible to find accommodation before leaving for Canada, but I want to stress that it is not easy. Let me give you a concrete example, my own. My husband and I started looking for housing in May with an arrival date in August. We had a scouting trip in June and asked a realtor agent to help us. We visited several properties, but to no success. A week before we left for Canada, our real estate agent visited a property, sent us pictures, And then, in less than 1 hour, we made our decision without even physically visiting the property. I don't recommend taking that kind of risk, but it worked for us. And now, a word from our sponsor. Hey, but there is none. Oh yeah, that's right. I'm the sponsor of the show right now. Today's episode is brought to you by my one-on-one coaching services. Thinking about immigrating to Canada but feeling stuck, overwhelmed, or pulled in too many directions? You're not alone, and you don't have to do it alone. I offer customized one-on-one support to help you move forward with clarity and confidence. From creating your departure strategy to finding a job, planning your budget, or securing housing, we will tackle it all, step by step in a clear and structured way. Book a coaching session with me today and let's turn your Canadian dream into a real plan. For more details, click the link in the show notes. And now, back to the show. If you have not found a place to rent before departure, start looking for a home right after your arrival. Really, don't lose any time. Look in the cities and neighborhoods you initially considered to confirm that is where you want to live. If necessary, expand your search. To get help, hire a real estate agent and be responsive. I would like to make 2 additional comments. It is more difficult to rent a place if you have pets. With a dog, cat, or even a rabbit, you're not giving yourself all the chances. It is possible to find a place, but it is more complicated. In Quebec, the rental market follows a specific calendar. Most leases start on July 1st. If you want to improve your chances, plan to arrive at the end of winter or at the beginning of spring. Now, let's talk about the documents that are good to have when renting a property in Canada. Most landlords will want to know your immigration status, your salary, your bank balance, your credit rating, aka a score that indicates your ability to manage your finances, and letters of recommendation from previous landlords in English or French. As a newcomer, you won't have a good credit score and you may be unemployed. But with a well-stocked bank account, some doors will open. So if you haven't already, save, and save some more. Moving to Canada is expensive, and your housing expenses will be one of your biggest. In my coaching sessions, I help you with your housing search. Together, we'll look at your prospective salary and whether or not the rent will be too high for you. Schools for your children. Does the neighborhood you are considering have a good reputation in terms of schools? Look at the episode show notes to contact me. In my book, Cost of Moving to Canada, The Ultimate Guide, I explain everything you need to know about housing in Canada. In particular, I tell you what prices to expect for a student's room, a shared apartment, rentals, and even buying a house. The link to buy my book can be found also in the episode show notes. Let me give you 3 takeaways from this episode. First takeaway. Finding affordable housing in Canada is not always easy, so do your research beforehand and start soon. The market moves fast, especially in big cities, and competition can be intense. The earlier you understand your options and typical costs, the better prepared you'll be to make smart choices. Second takeaway. Do as much research as possible by visiting both institutional and private websites. And if you can, get help from a licensed real estate agent. They know the local market and they can help you avoid scams. Third takeaway, put money aside. If you don't have enough cash, your stay in Canada could be complicated. You will need first month rent, maybe last month too, plus furniture, utilities, and other upfront costs. A solid financial cushion will make your transition smoother and far less stressful. You can find the notes for this episode in the Learn section of my website, bienvenueaucanada.ca. This will allow you to review the key points of the episode. And yes, even if the name of my website is in French, The articles are in English. And that's it for today. Thank you for listening until the end. Sign up for my newsletter, and twice a month, I'll send you fresh news. As a bonus, you'll receive a booklet with 67 tips that will help you move to Canada. Link in the show notes.